Good now, revolutionaries, and welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show. That's right, we are live from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and wherever you are. If you're listening live or in the future, hello, we hope your candles are green. Thanks for joining us here for helpful news, commentary, answers to your crypto questions. And Alex, I really do think it is about the friends we make along the way. Maybe our Bitcoin will be worth something someday, but if it's not,
Maybe.
we've got a hell of a lot of stories, a hell of a lot of friendships, and I kind of thought that would be a fun place to take it today because we've been here, not even 24 hours?
Yeah, not even.
And I feel like we've already had like a week's worth of conversations and stuff to do. And that's the coolest part about getting into crypto is you don't have to be a highly technical person. You don't have to be a rich person to get into this stuff and get something meaningful out of it. That's the best part. So just for like fun to catch people up, let me set my coffee down before I spill it all over your computer. I wanted to set the scene for what we did last night. So we got here. This is our beautiful mobile studio. Shout out to Joe, our friend and community member, who hooked us up with the listing for this place. It's right across the street from the CN Tower, and it is so perfectly centrally located. What was it, 10 minutes to walk to dinner yesterday?
Yeah, 10, 15 minutes.
And it's going to be about that to walk to the Stellar event today.
Yep.
Multichain day.
Yep.
Everything is like a 10-minute walk from here. We couldn't be more perfectly centrally located.
And I need to walk more after dinner last night because,
dude,
sweet baby Jesus,
sweet mother of God. I'm going to try and get like the background here for the TikTok people, but I'm going to show you the screen share on YouTube. Tell them where we went. We went to Lee, and for folks who don't know.
Yeah, so we went to Lee. It's called Lee Restaurant. If you want to look it up, you might recognize.
Why are you moving?
you might recognize the chef as being just ludicrously TikTok famous. And he was there all night, just walking around saying hi to people, cutting it up, and oh my God, the food.
Dude, the food was so good. We got served this like prefix menu
with like 9 courses.
And every course was incredible, like absolute fire.
This is first of all, shout out to Stellar for hosting the dinner. It was great, but that's part of like what Evan's talking about, just like making friends in this space and working here and doing all this. We literally just like walked in off the street and sat down at this restaurant that you definitely need crazy reservations for.
Oh yeah.
And just ate and left. It was wild.
Well, and I just want to say, Chef, if you're listening, because Alex and I when
I'm gonna be thinking about that creme brulee for as long as I live.
We saw him walking around the rest. So first of all, so we're at the apartment, we're getting the studio set up, and we text Lindsay to be like, what are you doing? Because we know they're in town, we know they've got a house set up, and we know that they're going to probably be hosting an event, and we're thinking we got to get some dinner, we got to meet up with some of our friends. Because again, that's the theme, relationships, friendships. We're here for the people. And so we get this message from Lindsay. She's like, we're going to Lee. I look it up and I'm like, wait a second. I think I know this restaurant. And sure enough, it's Chef Susur Lee. And when we get there, it's like 10 minutes past 7 when she told us to get there. We got stuck in an elevator.
Yeah, our apartment's on the 34th floor and the elevator didn't work, so we had to take the stairs.
we waited for the elevator for like a minute, and this woman walked out.
Well, we opened it. It was like a Twilight, like we opened the elevator to take it down, and this woman comes out. And she's like, "Oh, thank God, I've been in there for 10 minutes."
Yeah. She thought it was the ground floor, and she's like, "Oh, this is the floor I came in on, or whatever. I needed to go down." And we were like, "Well, we're going down too." And she's like, "Well, don't use that elevator." And we waited for a long time, and then Alex and I eventually took the stairs. And she, for all I know, she could have been waiting there, for another hour. It was rough. Anyway, so we get there, we take a lovely walk into this restaurant. We know that it's Chef Lee's restaurant. And I felt bad. I texted Liz, like, sorry, we got stuck in this elevator. We're a couple minutes late. I felt bad for Chef and his team because it's like, I don't know, 35, 40 people at the restaurant that Stellar has invited from all over the world, some of whom are like arriving like us today. And some of whom, we're wearing like DJ clothes. Everybody's got like a t-shirt on, but it's not that it's not like, You can show up however you are. You know, I feel like that, but I felt so bad that
self-conscious.
But underdressed and that not every. I feel like I said to Alex after we were eating this meal, I said, I consider myself to be like a good educator and, you know, a good producer of content, and I take pride in it. But as good as I am at this, and as good as this man is at curating like a restaurant experience, not just serving good food, but like the lighting, the tables, the decor, the way it was presented. I mean, it was so thoughtful and so next level. Like, I felt bad that we weren't all there exactly at 7, totally quiet when Andre, the head waiter, would make the spiel about each course. We were like talking and getting to know each other. And
I think I think it would be weird otherwise. That's part of the rest. That's what you want. You want people to be in there having the fucking
totally.
Lives.
And we were like that. That was the thing about it. You know, we're J-Rome. Shout out J-Rome, our friend over at Lumen Loop, who has been helping put together some of the events that Stellar has hosted, not just this conference, but the last few go-arounds with our buddy Raph there too. J-Rome made the remark, he said, you know, it's great to have a dinner like this because when will we ever eat like this again? But it's kind of a bummer when you are at a table and you can only talk to these people here, but I don't know. I didn't suffer.
You got to choose your seats.
You got to choose. We nailed it, dude.
Seats wisely, and we crushed it.
Alex was right here. Lindsay was on his other side. And then we had FIFO over here, who's from Brazil. He's been building in the Stellar ecosystem for a long time. I had J-Rome right across, who's host and has become a good friend of ours. We had several new friends over here, Robert and Sophie and Ben and Boxy. Shout out to Boxy, who is a Toronto native. And he was like, hey, man, what are you guys going to do here? He was like, oh, yeah, you should go to the CN Tower. You want to go on a bike ride? You like karaoke? Okay, we'll do this. He's connected with Barachain, among other communities, and was like, oh, no problem. You wanted to go to the Barachain event? We'll make it happen. You know, just like sitting down through conversation at dinner, the friends you make along the way.
It's all about who you know.
It's all about who you know. I got to ding you for that. So if you are feeling a little disconnected, you got a crypto question, you're curious, you want to learn more about the movement that is Web3 and how you can get involved, then don't hesitate to send us a message. Let us know what your question is. And if you're listening in the future, leave it in the comments, or better yet, jump into the Rise Up Discord server. I want you to head to theriseupmorningshow.com. It's the place where all of our shows links live, including the totally free Rise Up Discord community. It's a global community with learners at all levels of experience. It's a great place to ask a question, share what you know, meet a friend as if you were at a fantastic dinner, but it won't cost you a thing. You don't have to travel. The only thing missing, my friends, is you. And now the Rise Up Morning Show platform, I'm proud to say, is powered by our friends over at Polygon. Shout out Polygon, who is here at the event, and we cannot wait to connect with them. They're doing their event tomorrow night.
Yeah, but we should be seeing some of them today.
We're going to see some of them today. Big thanks to all of you for what you do. Check them out at polygon.tech, and just by searching Polygon Labs.
I think Neil gets a special shout out for helping bring it together. He's a G.
Yeah.
He did a great job.
He's a G. So Alex, what are you seeing from our friends in the comments here?
Well, the first thing that we do have to do is roast Will a little bit.
Oh,
It's like posting sad TikToks about getting ghosted yesterday. Meanwhile, Will just doesn't check his messages. It was announced publicly in multiple places that there was not going to be a show on Monday, and that Wienermobile didn't look anywhere or read anything, and he just shows up and just sitting there in the studio by himself, wondering. Meanwhile, any one of several places he could have gone to confirm, or reach out to one of the two of us specifically. Plus, I can't even think about the number of times we've said that Evan and I were traveling on Monday without the show. So Will gets a hearty glum.
Yeah.
For ghosting him. He stood himself up yesterday.
Moist Mike said, "Who is Will?" And I said, "Dead to me." But also, shout out Will, because that video was hilarious. It was absolutely hilarious, and I did feel bad. I just wanted to reach out through the screen and give him a little hug, and then also be like, "We messaged you about this." He's got a really big week, and you'll notice he's absent today. He's not going to be in the studio today, tomorrow, or Wednesday night, but you will get to see him. I hope. Is he going to be here on Thursday in time for the show? He might not be. This might be a will-less week. They say where there's a will, there's a way.
Where there's no will, there's still got to be a way, though.
Yeah, there's at least morning show mugs and pithy t-shirts. Also, I don't know if it showed on the screen share earlier, but I do have to say, speaking of awesome t-shirts, we're also bullish on USDC to $2. We were in the airport yesterday when you showed this to me, or after we had, maybe they saw it when I got Chef Lee's picture up. But we've got the whole Popovich family outfitted in their swag. Let me show you this. I just want to say, if USDC doesn't follow you back on Twitter after seeing like all the bandwagon we've got.
Dude, yeah. USDC, follow me. My parents are wearing USDC to $2 t-shirts as they are both USDC holders.
And users, not just holders. We're using this stuff. And that kind of is a good segue to say, I mean, first of all, let me give your shirt its due and say, everybody at the table last night was like, when are we getting those?
I know.
When are we getting USDC?
If we've learned one lesson already, it's that we need to bring a dozen copies.
We got to bring a dozen copies of t-shirts. Okay, I'll give one more commercial to say, if you need a USDC to $2 t-shirt, you can find it at theriseuppmorningshow.com also. And while you're there, the very first thing you're going to see at theriseuppmorningshow.com at the very top, if you are in Toronto and you're listening to the sound of my voice right now, or you're going to be here for Consensus, then we want you to register for the event that we're doing Tuesday. It's Rise Up Live. We're not going to do like a whole show. We're just going to get together at a cool place on John Street called the Ballroom Bowl. Again, shout out Joe for hooking us up. And we've already got a bunch of people who are going to be there. Lindsay and Anuya are going to be there from Stellar. Jerome said he'd come by. We've got folks from Polygon who are going to come. I've got several friends from Taldao who work across the ecosystem. A friend from the Barabaddies who wants to come.
Perfect.
And I think it's just going to be a great mix of, we'll be there. We'll all get to hang out.
We will, in fact, be at our own event.
We will, in fact, be at our own event, but then all kinds of people that you've seen on the show or that we've talked about, and then you, my friends, the most important part of what makes our show great. Samantha says, welcome to Canada, gentlemen. And I got to say, I do.
Thank you.
I do feel well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. It's nice to be here.
Yeah.
Really nice to be here.
Yeah. It's nice. And your shirt, I got to see it. Tweeting does not equal onboarding. And mine, it says crypto, but make it human. When I was looking at it in the mirror today, I realized I think I should put the it down here because my arm was covering it. And I was like, oh no, did I have a typo? Crypto, but make human?
Honestly, that would be a funny show. Crypto, but make human.
But make human. Exactly. I brought up our shirts as a segue from USDC to $2 to say, we are trying to do more here in this space with our friends, all of you, than just tweet about it, just speculate on it. There is so much stuff going on outside of, like, Bitcoin is almost, I'm almost ready to play we got a new all-time high sound here, but I haven't looked at the chart all weekend. I've been so excited about Consensus, not because of like, what's the price going to do? Although frankly, that is exciting, but for some of the things that you said, there's a lot of really meaningful stuff happening in crypto towards adoption of the broader Web3 movement, the technology. And we still have leaps and bounds to go, of course. But I know that that's something that we wanted to talk about today, some of the more meaningful headlines that we've seen recently. So where do you want to start with this? I see that you're rapidly firing off an answer to a question in the chat. I can always tell when Alex has got a question going on when we're remote, but now I get to see his fingers working, and I think they became blurry. I was like, damn.
Well, you got it. It's all about the swipe.
Yeah, it's all about he's the swiper. I can't
swipe to text. That's the secret for anyone wondering.
So is that a good place to take it? Do you want to talk about some of the meaningful headlines we've had?
Yeah, I was gonna I can comment too on the fact that I have been looking at charts and prices.
Yeah.
Because it's profit taking time. And I haven't in the last couple days, but I was saying constantly that I was waiting for Solana to go below 100. It did. I was there.
You were there?
Stable coins in hand. And now I'm getting stable coins back with a casual 100% increase from that 90 something dollar. Well, it's not full 100. It's like, 90, or I don't know. It went from like $97 to 182. So, but you bet your ass, you bet your ass I took some profit. So watching that, seeing some strength. Sentiments are, diluted, but positive.
Diluted but positive. Yeah.
No, diluted.
Oh, diluted.
Delusional.
I see. Yeah, diluted but positive, and not without reason, but maybe a little diluted.
Microcosm reason, like reason in an echo chamber, not reason globally. Although that is one of the things, maybe we could start there. So one of the announcements lending to the overall positive sentiment in the space, I think, is the story that Coinbase is fixing to be added to the S&P 500.
Yeah, the S&P 500, and also they broke records recently. I don't know what happens, Alex, but it's like sometimes on Thursdays is a big news day for us. Right after the show,
I think about it every week.
I'm always like, damn, I usually am listening to Unchained on like a Saturday, and Laura Shin has done like a special edition episode, and she'll have a news roundup, and I'll be like, when the hell? She'll be like, Thursday afternoon, Friday afternoon, Saturday morning. And I'm like, why do they wait till the show's over to do this newsworthy stuff? Coinbase made the biggest acquisition in the crypto industry's history. They acquired a company called Deribit. It's a Dubai-based crypto derivatives platform for $2.9 billion. Whoa. 700 million in cash and the remainder in Coinbase shares, baby, which after a move like that, walking into the S&P is looking pretty good for Deribit.
Yeah.
And honestly, pretty good for Coinbase too. Yeah. They've still got like 7.5 billion in cash. So now they've bought this exchange and are going to
get a lot more.
Their earnings are fantastic. And now you can go there to trade spot, perpetuals, futures. It's quickly becoming a one-stop shop. And we're kind of seeing this across the industry, like Kraken. You want to trade some stocks here? Robinhood is kind of moving the opposite direction. And I am...
Shout out Swarm, because Swarm's been trading tokenized stocks for a hot minute.
Yeah. Big shout out. I almost said, don't come for me, but then my fingers have the wrong one. There's a lot of moves happening to bring these tools to the people that are really substantive. Yeah. And I wanted to shout out our friends at Ripple. Ripple Labs has acquired Hidden Road. That was a $1.25 billion acquisition. And they also announced a really finally substantive partnership with AWS Amazon. I don't have all the details on it emergent yet in terms of like how they're using Ripple Network, but I understand they're going to start using it for the settlement of payments and possibly even the XRP token. Everybody's talking about that all the time. Banks are going to use XRP. Amazon's going to use XRP. Everyone's going to use XRP. And here's a partnership that seems to be moving towards that. So first of all, for our friends over at the XRP Army headquarters, congratulations. Substantive news is great. Second, this is just like one of many things. And I feel like we're seeing it all the time. I don't know. And this week, Consensus BlackRock is here. Yep. JP Morgan is here. Google is here. AWS is here. Like
trying to, one of the speakers that we submitted a request to get time with is the CEO of Ondo, which I'm not holding my breath, but would be really cool.
Oh, dude, Ondo would be super cool. I wanted to look up. BlackRock recently made a move, and I just don't want to misname it. You know what I'm talking about, where they brought one of their funds on chain, and it's fast how this liquidity is moving into like on chain into the crypto space. And everybody I talk to from an institutional perspective, I've said this before on the show, it's very much like, yeah, this is great. Crypto, you must be so excited to be in crypto right now.
Well, I mean, look, Solana's been, what's the goal? Like, tokenize the NASDAQ has been one of the bumper stickers for a hot minute.
Yeah.
And whether it's, all there or all other places, that's the thinking right now. Like that's where you want to put stuff. You have more options. I mean, like if you zoom out a little bit, one of the things that gets a lot of airtime that we haven't seen yet, but we've seen whispers of, and I speculate that we would see before too long, is staking being enabled for the Ethereum ETFs, which will change the game over there. Primarily because you have a native yield earning asset that can be held in retirement accounts that will make the underlying asset stronger. So if retirement accounts and pension funds start holding the ETH through the ETH ETF, and custodians are staking it, ETH becomes more secure. which is not only good for Ethereum, it's also good for the Ethereum ecosystem, which includes every single ETH L2. And boom.
And
boom.
Boom. I'm gonna clip that. That's gonna be a new sound effect. Yeah, and it's interesting because ETH is having a lot of, we've talked about this, struggles, but also the Pectra upgrade has gone live seemingly without a hitch. And I'm curious to hear
there was a bug.
Was there a bug?
Yeah.
They have to roll something back?
No, but there was a bug. Hold up.
Also, while Alex is pulling up, let me just say shout out to Matt in the chat and everybody in the chat for all the reporting going on. Matt says CPI came in slightly hot. Will Jr. over here. And speculates a little, oh no speculation. 0.3% month over month, 2.4% year over year. Core is still sticky. Core inflation, he means, at 2.8%. The Fed will probably stay cautious. Markets are a bit shaky right now. Hey, Matt, way to go. Thank you for contributing. And that's my reminder to say, if you've got a question, suggestion, good joke, word of wisdom, it is a little difficult having a conversation with you over here and having our cameras over here and our cameras over here. So pardon us if we're a little distant from the chat, but there's nothing better than doing a show live and in person with all of you. Eddie, I saw you ask, do you think we are bound to hit a bump in the road and everything drops like mad again? And you said, probably.
Yeah, just because even without considering that like something in the space could go wrong or some bad news could happen or someone else could be found to be doing something shady, that's the other thing. Like I feel like there's definitely some card houses in the space that are just sort of like waiting for exposure. I mean, nobody knew for how long what FTX was doing, nobody knew for how long what Celsius was doing, etc. And so there's always that potential, which I would posit that those are good. When those happen and they finally get exposed, it's like, this is good. Okay, yes, get it out of here.
Yeah.
But we also live in a time that is just like heavy with market manipulation. And if things are too good for too long, then someone, hedge fund E or government E, now that their sticky little grubby fingers are in everything, trying to extract what they can, then it's only a matter of time before someone's like, all right, settle down.
Yeah.
And then, turn it around. They're like, all right, let me get back in there. Let me make some money on the downside, and then let me re-enter some stuff, and then let me get these prices back rolling again.
Yeah, there is a lot more interest also for them. Like once your finger is in a little bit, you get what would you get?
Christina's like, you guys should be holding hands for the episode.
Oh, for people in podcast land, we're doing synchronized dancing now.
Sometimes I forget that there are people who are only going to listen to this with no context, get a real weird ass couple seconds.
We're sitting on the couch in more or less matching t-shirts.
Yeah.
I don't have my glasses on today so that you wouldn't confuse
more
us.
Than ever,
like the same. Oh my god. Oh, we constantly get.
What were we talking about?
I think we were talking about how we're going to remodel our bathroom someday.
Yeah, that's
great. Poor Christina and Kimberly. Alex said to me yesterday, we were in the restaurant getting a meal, and he said, "Do you want my pickle?" He said, "Since Christina's not here, you get to be on pickle duty." And I said,
direct quote. And
this is not like an innuendo, it wasn't like a, like pull my finger, but I said, man, that almost feels too intimate. Like eat the part of my meal that I cannot. Like, I don't know. It felt like we were exchanging vows when you handed me that pickle.
I mean, it was a pickle.
And then I ate it and I forgot about it. But that's the nature of our friendship.
Well, so it meant nothing to you.
It meant no. I just mean,
I gave you my pickle.
I mean to say it was so casually, but deeply intimate. Somebody save me from myself.
This is good. How much longer can we keep going?
How much longer can we? Here's what I would say.
This is actually a show about crypto and Web3 and the future of the internet, the financial revolution, not two men sharing pickles.
But you know what I was talking about yesterday? We were talking about with FIFO across the dinner table with us. We were talking about the state of crypto education and how there's so much done to, host dinners for degens and hackathons for builders. And we do a really good job. Shout out Bankless, shout out Unchained, shout out all the podcasts, modern market that are oriented towards people who are already here, who work here, who kind of understand level 2 or 3 stuff and speak the jargon and want something for the insiders. But we really got to do something that appeals to people who are like, you know what, I don't really like crypto, and you guys are a little wonky, a little corny or whatever, but I really like you. I like hanging out with you. I was like, he said it should start locally, right? Do you have Spanish language, Chinese language? I said, no. I said, we're working on it, but it's not for us to do that. I said, really, people don't have someone in their neighborhood locally that they can talk to about crypto. So they come to our show to see people hanging out, having fun, not just us, but in the comments, in the community. And that makes them come back. And then they meet someone who's like them, or someone who lives near them, or someone who speaks their language. And I'm hopeful that one day somebody in Brazil is going to say, you know what, after the Rise Up morning show goes live, I'm going to do the Spanish language version, the Portuguese version. And that's not for us to host, man. We don't have to learn Chinese and Spanish.
But reach us out and we'll work with you. And
totally.
Boost you and all that good stuff.
And I said to you, last week, I was like, this is, we always try to be conscious about platforming our friends, especially
that feels like a worthy shout out just to say that, sneak peek behind the curtain here. One of my 10-year goals is to have, the brand awareness that is the idea of Rise Up kind of, dominate sounds like a strong word, but I would be lying if I said anything else. The attention space. So if you feel inspired to create your own style of content about this with your own twist and your own niche and your own interest focus, your own methodologies and all that kind of stuff. And, you're not looking for a boss because that ain't it, but just a boost or help or optics and, ecosystem inclusion, then let us know. 100%.
Yeah. And that's the goal. That's why we're doing, I told FIFO, I said, we need to build a better container first, like the container of find the show, come to Discord, engage with the class, go to the website.
It needs to be different.
It needs to be safer. It needs to be easier.
Yeah.
We're putting the bricks in place and building the foundation. And then once we get it here for this kind of community thing, we want you to be able to do it for your gardening community, for your knitting community, for your pickle loving community. Side note, Katie, Benner, our friend, said, we fight over the pickle at my house. And someone, I had to shout this out too. Was it Mike? It might've been Ripcord. He said, what happened to the other guy?
What did happen to the other guy? Unfortunately, the other guy.
I love you, Will.
Has another big boy job that is.
He's got a huge week.
Right
yeah.
He's really under the gun right now for a lot of his day job stuff, and I'm very sad not to have him here because it's just so much better to do this whole show in person.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got rugged by real life this week.
That's right.
Very last minute,
but that's why we're doing as aggressively as we can. Building relationships is so that we can sustain a model where we can pull Will away from all his other jobs and we can give you great community-driven educational content all the time. And we say, rise up. Model what it's like for other people to do it. Okay.
Can we?
Enough of a commercial.
Yeah.
We're sappy.
I want to take it back to what you were talking about.
Did you say take it back?
No, y'all. Yes.
Give you a rewind.
Oh, thank you. You got to tell me what sound you're doing because I don't have headphones today. Just in the idea that what we need are more outlets and Laura Shin is obviously killing it and her network is killing it, and Bankless is one of the bigger names and Modern Market is great, but all of them are even Laura Shin is relatively siloed.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They do not get listeners from the general they're not getting discovered by brand new people. Yeah. And I think a lot of that is on the platforms that we're using to do the talking, which is literally the impetus for this shirt right here. You got to get off Twitter and you got to go elsewhere where people are. And to be very honest, that's one of the reasons that recently, especially in the wake of the video that they did, Bera has a lot more of my attention because they are dominating part of the culture space.
Are you talking about, because they've done a couple really good ones. Are you talking about the house tour? Yeah. Did you see the Mother's Day one?
No.
Hold tight. I'm going to pull this up.
I do. While Evan's pulling this up, I do have to say, just because I have to complain about something, and I haven't complained about anything in multiple minutes. The reception to the Bear Baddies like MTV Cribs style video, I don't know how you watched that and didn't immediately recognize that they were making fun of MTV Cribs, but some people thought that they were being serious, and a lot of like very overly sensitive men were like really butthurt about that video. And I'm just like, you are literally the Eric Andre meme.
Of course not.
Oh my God. Okay, well,
is Eric Andre Benjamin? I know he's not Andre the Giant.
He's Eric Andre.
Who's that?
Do you see what I'm looking at? Someone knows who Eric Andre is.
Everybody knows who Eric Andre is, I'm sure. This is a me thing, not them.
No, it's not. Evan,
Mr. Andre, I'm so sorry.
Evan is a content creator for a living, and he doesn't know anything about the internet.
I'll probably recognize him if I saw him.
You might.
So,
yeah.
what's the meme?
Anyway, the Eric Andre meme is like, so Eric Andre has this talk show that is hysterically unhinged and absolutely chaotic evil. The most unhinged talk show of all time. And the meme is Eric Andre. I'll show you. Eric Andre, he's got someone behind his desk and they're talking, and he just like turns around and like blasts whoever it is, and the whole thing falls over, and then he looks back at the camera and says something. And so the meme for the Bear Baddies thing was crypto Twitter as Eric Andre blasting women having fun in crypto, and then turning back to look at the camera saying, why aren't there more women in crypto?
Yeah. And yeah, sounds about right.
That is the epitome of what this was.
Yeah.
And the reason that I am excited by it so much is, even if that's not like my style of content, think about music as a genre. How many publications and podcasts and magazines and movies and books and documentaries have there been about music in general?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you could totally have like someone who is a diehard Wu-Tang fan and someone who is a concert
cellist, yeah,
who plays, is currently playing the Bach cello suites. And both of them are diehard music fans, but probably don't have a ton that they would relate to each other with on the surface.
They wouldn't share the aux cable.
Yeah. So in that sense, like that's where this space needs to go. Or
you've been in this situation where like I'm a cellist, you're a juggalo, and we're in the car together, like vibing to each other's music and discovering new stuff, because the space is so big we couldn't possibly listen to it all. And the spirit of camaraderie is like, well, great, let's share.
But you would never be able to look at that person who is a Baroque maxi.
Yeah.
Who don't actually like music. Like, why would you? So it's just so like indicative of one of the problems in crypto right now, that like we see people get onboarded through their own thing, where they find the part of the industry that speaks to them, that they're interested in.
Yeah.
And then you're like, hey, no, not like that.
Yeah. Not
you. My bags.
Well, we were talking about this at the dinner last night because, FIFO is a good example. He has been building in Stellar, the ecosystem, for the last like 5 or so years. And at that time, 5 years ago, the Stellar ecosystem, it was there. It had been there for a minute. The Stellar token had been out, but this is like smart contracts were very novel, new. He was kind of an enthusiast contributing to the development of it, but like, it wasn't what it is. It was kind of, we compared it to Multiverse X. And there are people who, whether you're in Polygon or Multiverse X or Stellar, if you're in an ecosystem that has been there for a while and you've been contributing to it, like you may be so deep in, you don't have the time to go that deep into every ecosystem. We're kind of like generalists, you and I, in the sense that we get to see a little bit of what everybody's doing.
Yeah.
And so when somebody says like, wow, I'm so excited to have this yield farming opportunity on Polygon, where else can you get 15% on a stable coin? We're like, well, have you been on Base? Have you been on, Mantle? Have you been on whatever?
Yeah.
Like, and they're like, no, I haven't. And it's not that they're maxis. It's just that they're siloed too.
Yeah. Well, and it doesn't, I mean, in this particular, us specifically, it really doesn't serve us to be maxis anywhere, because that's not helpful.
But stuff's not interoperable. And it's not, the teams that people communicate with each other, but I'm seeing how necessary it is for us and all of us to be bridges.
That's kind of one of the reasons that I was excited about the Polygon thing, because one of the things that they're working on is just, I think could be messaged a lot better to help new people understand why it's cool and important, because they're all geeking out about the ag layer.
Oh, dude, I knew you were going to say the ag layer. And that's not just a Polygon thing.
Dude.
That is like a true coming together of many different ecosystems to make crypto services more interoperable.
But it's a
plug and
monumental
play.
push to do something that we've all been asking for a very long time, which is the idea that, like, hey, I would like to be able to. One of the reasons I think you have such bad maximalism is because of how siloed everybody gets. Like, this is straight up, this is one of the things that pushed me out of the Multiverse X ecosystem when I was sitting there trying to get stuff going, is that even inside of a single ecosystem, there is no interoperability because everyone is out for themselves, and it's just not helpful. And so that's why Ag Layer is cool, because what do we all ultimately want? We want the freedom of choice and the ability to experiment in different places and do different things. And we want that to be as frictionless as possible. And right now it's not. It is extremely, it's
like sandpaper.
What a friction.
Yeah, it's sandpaper. I was having this conversation the other day on that live I did with Jose. It's so, he said, why isn't there a wallet that supports every token? I said, well, it's because, every blockchain is built differently. I was like, think about a restaurant like McDonald's. It has become ubiquitous. There's a McDonald's in every part of the world, but even that, they might have different menu items in Bangkok. If you live in New York City, Uber works well enough that you will make sure you don't order McDonald's from Singapore on accident. But like right now, the crypto space doesn't have that. We don't have a McDonald's that is everywhere except maybe, Ethereum or Bitcoin. And every other restaurant is on its own little app, and they all work differently, and the ingredients are sourced differently. And in order to make them work together, you've got to build like infrastructure to support the ability for them to even talk to each other. So we're still like establishing the groundwork, laying the wires. Ag Layer is a great example of how people will be able to access liquidity across different ecosystems. Users are going to have a much more like simple, abstracted, not log in here, log in there, connect here, connect there, one interface kind of thing.
Yeah, that's kind of the point.
All the stuff.
It's kind of like making crypto a little bit more internet-like, wherein you can, do different things in different places, but because they are all on the internet, they can talk to each other. And one of the goals here is to reduce, we've used a couple different phrases that sort of pertain to this a little bit, like the idea of hiding the wires, the idea of obscuring the tech, the idea of account abstraction, these different things that help people just use the product without getting so bogged down on the technicals that maybe they honestly don't care about and shouldn't have to care about. Like I always give the example, when I'm looking to play a new video game, I'm not trolling to see which data storage method they're using to store player profiles. Like, I don't care. No one, Evan, you should check out this new game. It's incredible. If you played the new Dark Souls game, it's great. They're using Firebase to store data profiles for players. What's the game about, Alex? No. But like, listen, because they're using this to do this, they can store way more data for each account, and you can access it way faster. No, that's cool. But like, what am I doing in the game? No. Hang on. There is no, actually, you can't play anything right now.
Read the manual first.
You can store your player data.
Yeah. My
player data that does what? And you just back and forth. And like, that's when you put it in terms like that, all of a sudden the way we talk about crypto sounds so stupid and silly.
Your best analogy about this, Alex, is really the car. You do not need to be a mechanic to drive your car to the grocery store. And you probably know 2 or 3 things that make a good car. When I'm talking about cars, my brother, he's a mechanic. He is sharp. He's into it. You are like that too. You understand engines. You want to know what's under the hood and how the whatever discombobulate. I don't know. I don't want to talk about
the discombobulator.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I want to know what's it cost. What's the gas mileage like? And is it a stick shift? You know what I mean? Like I have very simple questions about cars, and also like that one looks cool. That one sounds cool, and I know a little about it because I have friends like you. I have a brother I love. But like. That none of that is necessary to doing it.
You would be considered a crazy, ridiculous person if you were standing in the grocery store parking lot when people got out of their cars and quizzing them about how the mechanics inside their vehicle work.
Right. Or like walking up to them and being like, "Why are you driving a Saab, man? Don't you know BMW is so much better?"
Yeah, let me talk to you about the different kind of differentials that are in this. Why aren't you doing this? It's like, bitch, you got me to the store.
Like, leave me alone. Yeah. Okay.
But that's crypto right now. It's like someone trying to have a good time and someone yelling at them because the transmission in theirs is not as good as the one in this car, or this particular whatever, just it doesn't work the same way,
Yeah, or they just don't even know about the options that exist. So I saw you looked up a couple things. I saw we had a question about ag layer, and I just want to go back. I got the Barra Baddies video pulled up. I want to go back to really quickly say maybe the best phrase you've got that should be on a t-shirt for a very niche audience is Baroque Maxi. I absolutely love that. I need one. I'm just picturing, someone with opulent, dramatic lighting everywhere they go.
Well, yeah. The reason I said that is just because
Caravaggio paintings.
One of the things that was instilled in me from a young age is that people who just say classical music do not know what they're talking about.
I don't know shit.
They just mean violins.
Yeah.
But actually, there's a lot of different, classical is not.
Is it Rococo?
So it's a very niche, pretentious.
Yeah. And I'm a little pretentious, which is why I absolutely laughed at it. I pretend not to be, but okay. So where do you want to take it to break these things down and make it coherent and cohesive?
The point that I really wanted to make to kind of tie up this whole diatribe that we've been on about relevance and ease of use is that I think that a lot of the bullishness inside of the crypto space with people who consider themselves educated is misplaced. And you can see this a lot. I was just having the conversation yesterday with someone who, not to name names or anything, but there was someone posted a piece of content. I happen to know that this person, works in and around the space, and they were decrying Solana. It was just a very poo-poo on Solana kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And I think that if you wanted to sit down and have the technical conversation about X, Y, and Z, then there's totally debate to be had. And there are pros, there are cons, there are all sorts of things that are worth bringing up. You can have that conversation, but you cannot sit down here anywhere and tell me that they're not killing it. And if you do, I trust your objectivity way less.
Yeah.
I think that the only people I know who are that upset about it are maxis for something competing that's getting skunked. And that says a lot more about you than it does about your ability to discern who's doing a good job. And so in that, the things that and that's not to say that people aren't bullish on Solana, because obviously shitloads of people are.
Yeah.
But if we then look elsewhere in the space and look at the things that are having an impact like that are tackling a specific piece of the mind share economy, I think Barachain deserves more of a shout out because they are captivating a specific kind of vibe and culture, and it's working.
Yeah.
And I think everyone else is literally trying to sit there in a little polo shirt with a pocket protector saying, guys, we have culture too. Listen, this is culture.
Yeah.
I'm giving you culture right now.
Like my culture.
Look at this meme. This is culture. And it's just guys, this is so disingenuous. It's not landing.
Yeah.
You're trying too hard to be something that you're not. And it's obvious. You can see right through it. Look at Mega ETH. Mega ETH is another example of a group that is not trying to sit here and convince you that they have culture. They've just established their culture, and they've got the mega mafia. They've got the bunnies. They've got all of this different kind of stuff going on. They've cultivated a specific vibe. There is a specific aesthetic. There is a specific level of intellect and nerddom amongst the people who enjoy that. You go there knowing you want to talk technicalities about latency and about throughput, and you want to have that conversation about this and that and whatever, and everyone there is ready to have it with you, and also ready to highlight that specific metric in other ecosystems. Exactly what you're getting when you get in there, because they've known who they were from day one, and everyone else doesn't know who they are, and they're trying to pretend that there's something else because they think that is what will make them popular, when really just being more authentic would make them more popular.
Yeah, that's a big part of it, is embracing the cringe.
Yeah.
Just do what you do, be yourself, and you will attract, your vibe attracts your tribe, is what the kids say these days, or at least, some kids I know, and I think that's really true. My criticism of Barachain specifically, our friend Casey Craig, shout out, we love you. Are we going to see Casey this week?
No. Casey's in New York.
It was just her birthday. So a happy belated birthday to Casey Craig. And she was saying about, Mother's Day? That's great. And a happy belated Mother's Day. I don't think we got to say that on the air. So let me say to all of our friends who are mothers, happy belated Mother's Day. I'm going to play this Mother's Day video in a second as an example of Barachain baddies and the culture. But I want to tee it up to say, for people who are unfamiliar, if you don't know Barachain, this if you're in crypto you heard about it because it kind of launched with a lot of hype. If you're not in crypto, what they did well is first of all, they raised a bunch of money. And they did that because they have this really interesting consensus mechanism. They had some founders who had some relationships. And once they got the money, the way they started telling their story was they all leaned into this bear theme, Beara chain. The co-founder is Smokey the Bear. You know, they're like pseudonymous people. They wear these bear masks in public and they throw these parties where everybody's wearing bear masks. And the Beara baddies started as these women that they like paid to show up in bear masks and bathing suits and walk around. And Casey had that really, you know, prescient criticism of like, it is not what we need in crypto to have women as objects with no faces paraded around as, you know, like sex at a party. Well taken. I completely agree. It sounds like Beara baddies as its own like subculture and brand has kind of evolved into this empowering thing where a lot of women who work in our space, they have embraced this title, baddies, and they have leaned into this sort of satirical, like, yeah, the crypto industry thinks women are just objects, but we have so much more to contribute. If you would give us like if you won't give us a space, we'll make one. That's fine. We really don't need you. We've been here. We've been here anyway. Yeah. You know, there are lots of women who've been here a long, long time building cool shit. And this is just like I don't know. It wasn't for you, dude. It's kind of the vibe I get now. Like maybe it has been co-opted from this like misogynist thing into this.
It doesn't have to be for you. Not everything is yours. You don't have to have ownership on everything. You don't get to pick how everything is. Yeah. And I think, I mean, doing the content the way that they've been doing lately has just kind of really proven a point that like, okay, you wanted women here, but you wanted them to show up and be quiet little docile church mice that stood behind you and just like gave you the optics of being more inclusive without adding anything to the culture or adding anything to the ecosystem that was like what they got from it, which is just like, okay, so we don't actually want anyone else to show. We don't actually want this to grow. We just want to make more money, and I want you to pay me. Yeah, yeah. So just buy the token and shut up, and don't make me have to look at you having fun. The
example I always think of is it's like when the United States says, "Give us your poor, give us your child, you're tired, you're huddled." Whoa, not you, Mexico. You know what I mean? Like that's the vibe. That's the vibe. Really quickly, I want to show you an example of what this has evolved into. Alex, you're not going to be able to hear this super well because it's in the headphones. No. But it's a video that the Beara baddies produced for Mother's Day. And what they did was they set a bear up in front of a microphone, I think here in Toronto. I think they just kind of filmed this like man on the street style or baddie on the street style. And they invited people to come up and answer the question, what does your mother mean to you? And the caption is just, for the mothers, love baddies. And I'll play you a little bit of the audio now so that folks can hear it.
What does my mother mean to me?
It's my lifeline, you know? My spawn point. I would not exist without her.
Mother means a lot to me. My mom means everything.
My mother means happiness to me.
It's hard to come up with words.
I love my mom so much.
Oh, I can't hear it. Hang on. Take two podcast people. Hang on. No. I got it. Hold tight. Here we go. Check this out. Oh man, everybody in podcast is about to get a big upgrade. You're about to get a big upgrade. They've got night driving now. They've got so many options. They've been like deprived. Somebody over here, God bless them. Dark Oxygen said, Alex was a little quiet, and so I was bumping you up in the slider over here. And everyone on TikTok was probably like, man, now he's getting really loud. And I bet it's because you've been through this microphone the whole time. So our apologies. I won't pontificate on it any longer. Listen to the sound of this clip in 3, 2, 1. 3. Oh my God, save me from myself. 3, 2, 1.
What does my mother mean to me?
Oh no, I think it's broken again. Oh, okay. Here's what we're gonna do.
It's my lifeline, you know? My spawn point. I would not exist without her.
And
this feels like an appropriate time to say that when we're at home, we have some very like the muscle memory is there to just make everything work, but we are isolated and it's more impersonal, all these kinds of things. And then you get in person, you get so excited about the fact that you're sitting here in person, able to like do the show much more like authentically, but nothing works because the number of wires that like Evan has.
I have so many wires, guys.
Plugged into. Evan's just sitting over here in a treasure trove of wires.
Look at this stuff. Isn't it neat?
It's just covered in wires.
Yeah, so we are two guys who host a fake radio show.
It is
occasionally with our third guy.
Every now and then we get reminded that this is actually just a fake radio show.
So all of that to say, thank you so much for being the best part of what we do.
3, 2, 1, Gwump.
Because because we're doing it live. We're doing it live on the road, and
whoops.
We will put the link to the Bear Patties video in the description. And this is the place. Somebody said great setup. God bless you. Thank you. We do have a really great week of shows coming up. We've got to get our poop in a group for tomorrow. We've got Mark Boiron. I got to ask him how to pronounce his name because I've never heard it said. CEO of Polygon Labs coming on the show. And then tomorrow night, we're hosting Jeff the Dunker remotely. Green Jeff of Green Jeff Capital. His name is Zane, but you will know him if you watch his TikTok videos, if you see him on Twitter as Green Jeff. He posts the most wonderful. Somebody was in the comments asking, guys, snap out of it. They said, like, the culture talk, it's fine, but I hold Curve. Is it going up in price? And I was like, listen, man, you want to know about Curve? You want to know about DeFi? You want to know about looping? You want to know about Ponzi yield farming?
That's Jeff.
You need to know Jeff the Dunker. And all I can think about is a video he made probably 3 weeks ago where he was like, ETH is $1,400. Sell your house and go buy ETH. And now ETH is what, like $2,500?
Yeah.
And I hope he's swimming in a pool full of money somewhere.
I'm sure he is.
Scrooge McDucking it up. Dude, he had a video. He said, here's the plan. Mortgage your house, go buy gold bars at Costco, sell them on whatever, and then use that money to go buy ETH and then loop the ETH and buy more gold bar. I mean, it's so.
Don't be a wuss.
You could actually do this.
Put yourself into absolute financial peril and ruin to loop this Ponzi. Don't be a wuss.
And he had a great video on the Zora airdrop. Like sometimes it's stupid and satirical, like funny, but honestly, it's killer. He had a great video on the Zora airdrop where he started off. He was like, thanks, Jesse, I coined it. And look what happened. And he, like me, got like $3 of Zora. I think I got $18 from that airdrop. He got
did I send you my screenshot from my airdrop?
Yeah, would you get like 18 cents? Like
less pennies? Than a penny. It was so little. The amount of money that I got from the airdrop was so small that it just sent me less than 1. Like that's what it said on the screen. It was just like.
So he made this great video though about how here's a strategy you can use if there's an airdrop. You get airdropped a token or you don't. Maybe you missed it, but often it's a gamble, it's a risk, but often there's enough activity around a token on the day it airdrops that even if the price is going up or down, if you accumulate that token, there's very little liquidity for it, but everybody's trading because what do the people who get the airdrop do? They sell. And what do the people who hear about the airdrop and feel FOMO do? They buy, then they sell. And so people who are providing liquidity, which is, if you don't know, one of the things we talk about all the time, and Alex is making a series on right now, is decentralized finance, how you can become your own bank or participate as a financial services provider doing things like lending or providing the cash that is used to cover the other side of a trade, the buys, the sells. And he said, if you're on these airdrop farms, you miss the airdrop, that's fine. Go buy $1,000 of the token, park it in a liquidity pool because there's not going to be any liquidity. Earn the fees, and then even if the token goes down, sell it. You'll cover your losses. He parked like, I don't know, $9,000, which is a fair chunk of money.
A lot of money.
Into Zora, swapped it from ETH because he leveraged his house to go buy ETH.
Yep.
And he liquidity farmed it for 1 day. And the price was falling. But it came back up enough that even with the price change at the end of the day, because the fees were so high, he made like $800 and then swapped it out, sold his Zora. He was done.
Yep.
Great lesson.
That's why I love Jeff, because when he makes content, it's very much like if you just watched it once in an echo chamber, you'd be like, look at this putz in this Versace robe, just yelling at all of us. But then every now and then he breaks the facade just a tiny bit, and you realize like, oh shit, this dude is extremely well versed in the
adept.
inner workings of all of this. Like he's the most in-depth degen I know.
Yeah, so if you're curious about Curve and is it going to go
Yep.
up in price, the real hack would be come to see the show with Jeff the Dunker, Zane, and ask him what he thinks about Curve. He'll tell you about the Curve wars because he was there when people were participating in that platform for the first time and catching the yield opportunities that were there, and then not being maxis about it, but like, you know, accumulating with a purpose in order to farm this token, that token, use their governance tokens to influence the direction of pools. I mean, the strategy goes deep. You don't have to go that deep to benefit from it. You could just get like a stable coin, provide some liquidity, or lend it on a simple protocol the way you would put your money in a bank account. Earn some interest that's better than your high yield savings and truly earn your money.
Earn better interest on a bank account that actually belongs to you.
Yeah, that's
instead
it.
of some other greedy CEO.
That's where it starts. And that's a fine place to just park it.
You can stop right there.
Yeah. Don't sell your house. Don't get the gold bars. Don't, you know, farm some yield Ponzi, but earn some yield on money you actually own.
I really want to try to figure out how I can get some X. I've never owned gold. And I would really like to like experiment with that with a little bit of what Swarm is doing with the new gold thing. Like I'm obsessed with this. And okay, I was gonna start ranting about how I haven't seen a single person talk about X Gold, and I'm like, this is the biggest.
Is that the Swarm product?
Yeah,
I didn't know
it's in my humble opinion, it's one of the single biggest level ups that the RWA niche has had in a long time. And if you pretend to be into RWA and you're not like reading about how X Gold works and talking about it, wump. Get it together.
Absolutely die on this.
And I'm talking about creators here. I'm talking about people who pretend to be educators and are, don't spend any time learning.
Yeah, not you guys.
Do yourself a favor.
He's talking about me.
Just look it up.
What is X Gold? Are you sure it's called X Gold at Swarm?
Yes.
I believe you, but
I'm extremely sure. Just go to Swarm. So it's Swarm Finance.
Yeah.
Swarm Markets is the Twitter. Just do a little search. You got to scroll down a little bit.
Yeah. I could search
with all the golds. Just search for gold.
Search for gold.
Boom.
I'm always
there. You go.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. It's a great thread, first of all. But no, I mean, simply put, too, the reason this is cool, and I'm gonna free commercial here, not sponsored by Swarm, but I should be. Katie, get at me. This is the first time that I'm aware of, and fact check yourself, brother. Let me know if I'm wrong, but I have never seen this talked about, and this is a big deal where the federal government of a jurisdiction of a country here has legally and officially recognized the relationship between token and asset.
Yeah, I believe you are correct.
There is now legal precedent in Germany to respect the relationship between token and asset such that you have legal claim to asset if you're holding the token in the eyes of the government. That hasn't happened before.
No.
That's a huge fucking deal.
Yeah. It's difficult to overstate it. Like, difficult.
I cannot be more clear. That is a big deal. If you think RWA is cool, real world assets as a narrative inside of crypto, this is the single biggest hurdle.
Yeah.
That niche needs to get over. The fact that there is nothing legally binding that gives you, the token holder, legal rights to the thing that your token is attached to. And that's the biggest weakness. It's the thing that will keep the space or that narrative from advancing, and it needs to happen. And Germany just did it with gold.
So
with
let's talk about this for a second, because something that's interesting to me is, the origins of crypto were sort of this like, abandon the system. We don't need no stinking system. And it was a digital first movement. It's really easy to create tokenized proof for something digital. It's really hard to create tokenized proof for something physical, because at some level, somewhere in the chain, you have to trust somebody somewhere to verify, to establish a connection, or to authorize, like a government might, to say, we recognize this is true.
Yeah.
You have the patent office in the United States that says, we will custody this file of ideas, keep it sacrosanct so these inventors can trust this record.
Yes.
And on one hand, crypto says, we don't need that, bro. But now we've kind of entered this middle ground.
We need that, bro.
Where we are acknowledging that in some places we need it, but I worry sometimes that we might go too far in the. I'm not sure where I sit in the debate of. This is the last thing I'll say. How do we move beyond a system that is gate kept by central authorities who authorize a thing. You know, how do we get to the place where my
It's the
NFT
perfect
collection,
question.
that's
It's the
my
perfect
ideas,
question. Yeah.
you know,
Mhm.
can be recognized by everyone as valid?
Yeah.
You know, as valid as a patent maintained by the US Patent Office.
Yep.
Without having to rely on a government or a powerful person.
Listen, this is the same way that Blu-ray became the standard, that DVDs became the standard after CD, after whatever, because there was no central authority that was like, from this day henceforth, it will only be DVD, and then on to Blu-ray or whatever. It was just like, hey, here's a better option.
Yeah.
And then everyone was like, just came to expect it. And so I think the token relationship between token and asset, whatever it is, whether it's NFT and JPEG, whether it's NFT and pair of shoes, whether it's, you know, NFT and luxury bag,
Piece of
or
gold.
or food or something, just has to be, you either care about it or you don't. And guess what? You do not have to care about it.
Yeah.
And I don't think any less of you if you don't care about it, certainly. But eventually, it will just evolve and adapt into the way where it's like becomes weird if you don't offer it. Like if we take it to the VeChain example for a second. VeChain, one of the services that they offer is source to finality tracking of food items. So you can confirm and verify where things were grown, made, farmed, processed, sold, stored, who grew, who, whatever, right? And maybe you don't care about it. You've never had to care about, you've never thought about it before, but now there's a method to track it. And I believe that eventually we will get to a point where it'd be like, yeah, can I see like the tracking receipt? Or can I look this up real quick? Can I just like scan this QR code and just verify that this did come from where you said it came from by checking it? And they're like, oh, actually, we don't do that. And it's like, oh, why not?
Yeah. That's
And it just kind of becomes odd that you don't have it. Just like, you know, now think about the way that you pay for stuff in a store. You know, like tap to pay is becoming more and more of a thing.
Yeah.
You know, Samsung Pay, Apple Pay, Google Pay, whatever, you know, tap my phone to do the thing. I'm not taking my wallet out of my pocket very often, that kind of a thing. You know, but not that long ago, it was only the chip. And I just woke up Google on my phone. And
scary.
you know,
Ominous.
but after that, it was like, oh, I have to do the chip. Can't I just swipe the card? When was the last time you swiped a magnetic strip at a store?
Oh yeah.
To pay for something, right? But it wasn't that long ago, and it didn't become illegal. All
account has been compromised, click this, whatever. If you just ignore 100% of those, you will be harmed. Like, most of these attempts are lures, and if you ignore them, they the bajillion fake Evans and Alexes and Wills who DM you every day asking you how your trading is going and how the market's treating you. They are, the most they can do is annoy you if you ignore them.
Yeah.
And I am sorry that you have to deal with it because it drives me insane.
Me
and
too.
I literally spend time every single day trying to curate that list and trying to work on it. I search my own name in as many spells as I can imagine. I block all of the new ones that I can find. My follower list is, or my follower and following lists are hidden.
Yeah.
Little things like that, but it doesn't matter because, in this live right now, there are dozens, however many, who knows, accounts that belong to our impersonators that just sit here, they never say anything, and they just filter usernames and they put them on lists. I mean, you go into a Calvin Hill live and you say one thing and you get 40 new followers and they all DM you, right? So it sucks. It's a huge problem. I believe it could be worked on if the platforms were interested in it, but it means nerfing their engagement. So I don't believe they're ever going to do it.
Yeah, that's the question I wanted to answer. Eamon asked, why don't they do more to support it? And probably it's a mixture of, one, it is difficult at some level to verify who is real and who is a bot. Many platforms struggle, but ultimately the metrics that they use to sell to advertisers rely on how many users, how active are they, and there is kind of an incentive for them if the numbers are high, even if they're fake, to not be too super diligent about it. I don't want to make any aspersions, but
I would aspersions. Look at Twitter. Twitter, marketed the takeover as let's eliminate the bot problem. No, it just evolved the bot problem into a different bot problem.
Yeah,
but of course they're not going to get rid of it. It's half their user base are bots.
Yeah.
Why would they do that?
It's tough.
It props up the demand for higher ad charge to their advertisers and their sponsors and marketers who use the platform for optics and advertising.
Yep.
It just creates traffic. If you program the bots to be hateful and rage filled, then more real people engage with them, and that's how you farm more and more engagement and keep people locked onto the platform. The angrier that you are, the longer you're going to stay somewhere and fight about it. Yeah. There is no incentive for any of these platforms to actually fix the problem. It would not be hard. There are so many little tiny itty bitty fixes that even someone with a technical pea brain like mine could theorize how to get rid of half of these things. You need to run a KYC for creators that you have to follow.
Yeah.
Verify the verifiable humans.
Yeah.
And then anytime a username pops up that is a couple characters different, flag it as suspicious and force it to prove something to you. Character limits, eliminate the ability for people to use special characters in comments and usernames. That right there would they gave us the ability to filter keywords out of comments. I have 400 filtered words in my my comment filters, and it's things that I wish I was allowed. I have success research that I have to manually approve comments for.
Profit.
People wonder why my comment sections are not so full, and it's still bad. There's still ones that I can't even see. But because fun fact, if I block the creator, their comment does not get auto-deleted. Let me auto-delete comments.
That is one of the worst features.
If I block someone, their comments should be
gone,
mass deleted from all my comments.
Yeah.
But if I get bombed by 400 video post requests and I block the person because I can't stop it in time, then they stop commenting. But those video responses are still there.
Yeah. Somebody messaged me, our friend Tiffany Cianci messaged me to say, Evan, somebody is impersonating you and targeting deaf people. And it was a screenshot of an impersonator of mine in Carol's comment. And first of all, I was like, thank God at least it's Carol, because Carol knows what to do. She knows me. I was like, I know Carol personally. She's a friend of mine. We talk. And then I got to say, by the way, she's not deaf, but she's mindful of being accessible to deaf people, yada, yada, yada. But it's just I don't know. It's just stupid. And we would like for them.
It could be fixed, but there's no reason for them to fix it.
There's no reason. But also, that's one of the reasons we are trying to help you understand. First of all, wherever you're watching this, listening to it, these are our only official channels. If you go to the riseupmorningshow.com, you can find all of our links. We will never, ever, ever reach out to you directly first in a private message to try to sell you something, lure you to a different platform. If you want to contact us, that's why we have those links all aggregated there. You can reach out to us through the riseupmorningshow.com, now at the Discord server. But in the future, that's why we're going to Circle, is because we want to have a platform where we can more easily verify who everybody is and create a container that's just, safe for everybody. Not safe.
Safer.
Safer. That's right. We gotta work on it. It is a consummation to be wished that we should be able to keep each other safe in a spam-free environment. So thank you for helping us do that.
Top priority though. Like I think about it all the time.
Yeah.
I spend a good hour every day. Comments, impersonators.
Yeah. Oh my God. You gotta just keep on it. Eamon said, as a final thought, thank you in advance, Alex, for the DeFi content that you are working to put out. Do you want to give a shameless plug for people who want to learn more about this decentralized finance thing that we're talking about?
Yeah. So I am currently creating a free mini course. I have part 2 done and filmed and edited, and I've been trying to post it for 2 days. And I don't know, something is like broken with CapCut right now, and it won't let me export the video.
You got lightly detained by CapCut.
I'm getting detained by CapCut.
Oh no!
I refuse to redo it because it was lengthy. So the shameless plug is that there is a playlist on my profile called DeFi 101. It is meant to be very basic. If you are already like leveled up beyond the basics, I appreciate your support and your kind words and your comments and engagement to help the series and everything. But just know, like, it's meant to be another attempt, because I'm constantly trying this. This is honestly very difficult to create content for someone who has never done or messed with any of these things before. So like
starting from zero.
Like my idea for episode 2 was to create a wallet, what's a stable coin, and get your first one. And after 15 minutes of footage that was exclusively focused on what a wallet is, I was like, okay, I need to break it down like even further, and going back and just realizing like how much jargon there really is, and how, okay, well, I just used this as an explanation, but like I did that requires an explanation. That requires an explanation. Yeah. So
have you seen the Learn to Use Crypto playlist? I have done the whole thing starting at the top.
Oh yeah.
Because I think I could save you a little work. I was just thinking about that. Is if you should do it in your own language, but if you just need a shortcut to get people there for now, don't hesitate to do a little duet of the very first video. Is that how to buy, sell, send, receive, store your crypto securely using an exchange. Step 2 is what is a wallet, self-custody, how to boop, boop, boop back and forth, which I feel like we just have to make
this
that.
This one is also like, I'm speaking much slower than I usually do. Like enunciating specific points and highlighting specific jargon that like requires a lookup and all that kind of stuff. Like it's not, I know that the target audience for this is like not here right now, but that's kind of the goal. I want to have that product so that I have a single link to a playlist that will have a full free like mini course you can go to. And by the end of it, you will be able to make, and this is all decentralized stuff, by the way. Like I am not talking about centralized exchanges or protocols at all in this.
Even for your on-ramps?
Correct. Yeah. Well,
how are you getting people on chain?
I'll talk about it, but like through Transact or MoonPay or stuff like this, like there's that kind of on ramp. I'm just not doing centralized exchanges.
Yeah. Okay.
That require an account. I'm doing things where you can make the wallet and then you can use different tools that are centralized, like MoonPay and like Transact and all this kind of stuff. But that's the goal. The goal is to not necessarily have to create one of those. I'll do centralized exchange stuff, whatever, but like that's kind of my point. There's just so many things to cover.
Like Robinhood over here.
It's just, Coinbase is killing it.
I get it.
Coinbase doesn't need me making more commercials. And if Coinbase wants me to make commercials, they need to pay me. So, you know what I mean?
Yep.
All I'm saying is that MoonPay follows me on Twitter, so MoonPay gets a shout out.
Yeah. USDC too, soon.
They will.
I'm manifesting
my words,
Yeah, so if you want to learn, be on the lookout. Alex is thoughtfully, meticulously curating this playlist. I've got the Learn to Use Crypto playlist that is a good companion to that. And if you don't want to wait, really, truly, check out the How to DeFi course at theriseupmorningshow.com. That is a good head start that will allow you to kind of learn at your own pace. We have a goal to expand that, though, and I would really love. I can't wait till the cohort is live. We're building the Circle community so we can have a cohort experience that people can take with friends, with others, step by step through all the skills you need to become a safe, confident crypto user. And we will definitely cover decentralized finance there. Alex, I was going to give let's give a final thought because it's about that time. I was going to I didn't realize I didn't talk about it, but I feel like I need to tell people. Yesterday at the airport, I got lightly detained. I really did.
Yeah, I haven't gotten lightly You got diet detained.
I got diet detained at the airport. For people who don't know, one of my favorite stories to tell, and I won't tell it here. We don't have the time right now. But remind me another time to tell you the Canada story of how when I turned 18, I got banned from the country of Canada for 5 years for attempting to sneak across the border in the trunk of a car, to smuggle myself into the country.
You were such an idiot.
I was such an idiot, man. And every time I come to Canada now, though the ban has expired, and though they've been very friendly and welcoming to me, I do get questioned. Lightly detained. And apparently they're just going to keep lightly detaining me. And they gave me a little flag and gave me a couple questions and wanted to know, was I in the trunk of a car this time? And I told them, nope, I came across legally. Apple says, I have a similar story, so maybe we can have a travel stories power hour or whatever. I don't know. That's my final thought, though, is don't smuggle yourself into a country.
Yeah, not advised.
Not ideal. Alex, what about you? Have you got a final thought, word of wisdom?
Just, I'm very excited to be doing the show in person. It feels good to be at a conference. I love Consensus. Free shameless plug for the
my first time
conference. Oh my God, this is the best conference. Like I've been to enough where I feel like I can say, I wouldn't say complete. I haven't been to every single one. And I need to go to Token 2049 before I can say that for sure.
Yeah.
But I love Consensus. I think it has some of the best representation from like all spaces inside of the industry. I mean, you've got like tour buses wrapped in meme coin paraphernalia. You've got Bitcoin custody solutions. You've got miners. You've got, data layer. All of the big ecosystems are here. Like all kinds of. You've got representatives from the NASDAQ, from the S&P. You've got the New York Stock Exchange. You've got politicians. You've got like everybody is here.
Yeah.
There's like something.
Yeah.
There's NFT people here. There's meme stuff, music stuff, like whatever. It's awesome. It's one of the best places to make connections. This is my 4th year going to Consensus. I go every year since I started doing conferences. I have gone to Consensus. They were kind enough to let us in for free.
Shout out CoinDesk for the media passes.
Yeah, we do have media credentials to get in, so that's very exciting because it is not a cheap conference to attend.
No,
but I believe that if you work here, the ROI is so good that it's worth it. It's worth the price of admission if you use it deliberately.
And if you don't work here, what you do for any conference is you go, you get an Airbnb, you connect with some people who are going to go, and then be intentional about using a site like Luma, lu.ma, or Crypto Twitter to find side events.
Yeah.
Most of them are free to register for, or they're very cheap. And usually there's food, there's drinks, and you will meet the people that continue to come back, and that'll get you in next time. It's seamless. I mean, Raf and J-Rome, they do like we do. They run Lumen Loop, and now they're contracting with Stellar to help them put on some of these events. We have become friends because Alex has known Kim, who's worked there a little while, who worked at Core before that. We have friends all over the space just by showing up, hanging out, doing the thing. And Alex, you said it last night. Our goal is just to be invited everywhere.
Mark my words.
To know everybody and be invited. I don't. Coinbase, you got to pay me. But Coinbase
doesn't need the help.
They don't need the help. They're dominant. But I just mean to say, like I said it to Raf last night. I said, what I aspire to is like, if we could just go to any conference in any city or have a home, have a studio, and somebody who's hosting a dinner is going to feed us, or we know someone like Joe who's going to make a recommendation for an Airbnb, come down, visit us at the conference and say, God bless her, you guys want some groceries? And won't take no for an answer. You know what I mean? Like that. It doesn't matter how much money we have, man. If that's the kind of thing we have, and that's the kind of thing we can build here together. That's the Web3 movement, is like connect the people, align the incentives, rise up together.
Yep, well said.
I think that's a good place to end it. Thank you for being the very best part of what we do. Don't leave us, even though we're having technical difficulties. I'm so sorry. You didn't know this, but we struggled. We struggle with the audio over here. I am going to get my poop in a group and get the audio together for tomorrow. So if you're listening live or listening to the recording after coming from the live, because you're like, get it together, I will get it together. Don't fret. Don't sweat.
We're just two guys hosting a fake radio show.
In the same font.
In the same font.
A different font.
On a couch together this time.
It sounds like I've seen that movie before.
There was pickle sharing talking about it's hard pressed for this to get worse, but I'm sure we'll find a way.
And when we do, we will tell you about it. Don't forget to come back tomorrow. Same time, same place, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, 8 a.m. Central Eastern, whatever.
I told Evan yesterday that I love to fret. It's one of my pastimes. Evan's always telling me not to fret. Here I am fretting. You know. But thank you for sticking with us and being the very best part of what we do. We will be creating more content from Consensus. So watch our channels. Check out the riseupmorningshow.com. Come back for the show. Stay here for the podcast. Come back for Mark Boron. So much more, my friends. Until then, everybody, stay safe. Be well. Rise up.